Next up on our list is 2A number 9 Solon, coming off the big win that we talked about on the Seven Nation podcast against rival Mount Vernon, with another tough one on the road at Center Point, Urbana. Solon's won 4 in a row. They can clinch the 2A District 6 title with this win, but the Storm and Pointers, is that right? Yeah, they are the Storm and Pointers. They've also won 3 in a row.
We got it. Like, I really mean this. We have to talk about this just for a second. Elite, Rob, nickname and mascot and logo for all levels. I would put
it up there with the Savage Cobras.
It is, like, I know everybody jokes about it. It's whoever designed this thing, and it's incredible. Yeah. They're the Storm and Pointers. It's a dog in a tornado. Like, the logo is seriously like you see professional sports teams and college sports teams that spend millions of dollars on marketing and stuff, and Center Point Urbana has like the best logo, and they actually have a mascot, like a full suit that looks like professional, like it could be like a minor league baseball mascot, you know, and like it's the dog in the suit. It's awesome. I'm having fun with it, but it's incredible. Storm and Pointers. That's with the apostrophe. What is that? Apostrophe, a sky comma. You know, it's not storming ing. It's storming.
Yeah,
like the fighting Illini,
like
right?
Stormin and Norman.
Yeah, no, it's great, but
still not for me and my money. And I'm old school. If you can get Savage in your name, Savage.
That's Sigourney Kyoto, right?
Yes,
football.
To me, that's the bar is really high. But Stormin Pointers with the logo and the mascot. A lot of thought went into it. You have to appreciate it.
Yeah, the whole thing wrapped together. The actual physical mascot that would scare my daughter to death. She's not like, my other 2 kids are big into like the mascot. She's just like, you know, frightened by like Mr. Shucks and like all these, you know, it would scare her. But the actual
my kids didn't like mascots either. My kids were anti-mascot. Even the Iowa Cubs, like cute bear, right? Nope.
Yeah.
No interest in that thing.
Yeah. The whole presentation, they did a phenomenal job. But
what are we talking here? Now that let's move on beyond the logos and the mascots and the names and get down to the nitty gritty here of this football game for a district.
They're playing well. Center Point's playing well, and I think they've kind of established themselves in that. You know, last week was the de facto district title game. I think in most people's minds between Mount Vernon and Solon, and Solon was really impressive in winning that. Like, I watched that one. Center Point Urbana, this is one of those games for Solon. You know, whoever you are, you know, you talk about that trap type game. You're coming off a big win. You're going on the road. You're thinking playoffs, especially in a year like this. You know you're in, but you're not sure how the playoffs going to work. You maybe get a little distracted with looking ahead. Do we get a bye? You know, like, what's this going to look like? Center Point's good enough to beat you. They've kind of established themselves as that next, you know, they've won 3 in a row. I think they've established themselves as that next tier in this district. They lost to Mount Vernon in the district opener, and then have handily beaten, you know, the other district teams, Vinton, Shellsburg, Union, and South Tama in that district. So they're playing pretty well. Solon, obviously, we talked about that in the Seven Nation pod. They kind of formed that identity. They figured out who they were, going with that heavy package, you know, multiple tight ends and just trying to run the ball and really having success. And I mentioned this the other day. I'll mention it again. In district play, Solon's rushing totals have gone 405, 275, 304, 387. So they're averaging 343 rushing yards a game, scored 16 rushing touchdowns during that time. But what I think really kind of makes them upset proof in this game, Rob, and I look at this with a lot of teams, that's great. 2 things that I think really make them kind of upset proof here is Center Point Urbana, and they started out 0-3. They averaged 126, or they averaged 126 rushing yards per game in those 3 games. In their 3 straight wins, they've averaged 204. Solon, they're giving up 80 rushing yards a game on the year. In district play, last 4 games since they gave up, I think they gave up, like, I can look, not that it's the most important thing in the world, but they gave up 187 in a loss to Washington in week 2. Since then, they haven't given up more than 86, and they're giving up 60 yards, rushing yards a game, and have given up 1 rushing touchdown in 4 district games. And that ability.
So Center Point Urbana wants to run the ball. Solon, that plays into Solon hands.
Yes. They've got a good quarterback. They can mix it up on offense a little bit, but again, I just think I talked about this with West a little bit. I think they can make them one-dimensional by taking away that run game. And that's when you're putting up that many rushing yards a game and you're scoring points. And, I wrote about it after that Mount Vernon game. It's like the offense always gets the praise, right? Oh, they've controlled the game offensively. Hey, I interviewed an offensive lineman, Rob. I mean, I'm trying to give some guys some love for what they're doing. But even so, what goes overlooked with them is how good they've been defensively, especially against the run, which is where it really starts in high school football. And with them, they're good up front. Ben Cusick, a defensive end, had a really nice game for him against Mount Vernon when they did try to throw. But they're linebackers for a high school team. They've had, going back to the James Morris days, but even before that, Solon's always had really good linebacker play since I've been here. And this year, Colton Hoffman, Lucas T-Pole, Carson Shive, they have 3 really, really good 2A linebackers that all kind of fit a different mold. They have like a true Mike and Shive, and T-Pole can kind of play that hybrid spot a little bit, but they're really good. They've been really good against the run. And then I'd have to double check this. Coach Stanton, if he listens to this, which he probably won't because he's busy game planning. But if Solon people hear this, I'm knocking on wood. I think they've turned it over either once or twice this year. And so that's the other thing that, throughout a season, it kind of becomes, I think turnovers are a little fluky, in all levels. But through a season, when you watch it, whether it's forcing them or giving them up, it kind of becomes like an identity of a team. And they've been really good at taking care of the ball, especially with having a first-year, sophomore quarterback. Now, running the ball 85% of the time helps that. But I think, they've had good decision-making from their quarterback and good ball security. But that's something else that kind of makes them like, probably jinxing them right here, but you don't worry too much about that trap game when you can really run the football, stop the run, and you don't turn it over. I mean, those are the big things that lead to upsets is, things like that. And they've been so good in those areas that you kind of foresee them taking care of business.
Yeah, like we talked about, it seems like they found their identity. Complementary football, you run the ball well, you control the clock, that you put less stress on your defense. It all plays together. People, I think, sometimes don't pay enough attention to that when a team's very good at complementary football. And it seems like Solon's getting there.
Absolutely. And you throw special teams into that, which is a really hard thing in high school football when you're talking about you don't have unlimited time to practice. Right. I mean, nobody has unlimited time, but you talk about all the things you're trying to get to in a practice. They've gotten a lot better in special teams the last couple times I've seen them. And then like you said, you throw that in, they're totally comfortable, punting the ball away, playing field position a little bit. They scored a lot of points last week and finished drives, but the week before that against Vinton Shellsburg, they had some trouble finishing drives. But it's like for them being up 14-6, whatever it is, but by 8 points, two score type thing. They're one of those teams that feels like more than that because they can take, like you said, they can take 4 or 5 minutes off of the clock, with one drive, and they can just kind of bleed that clock down. You saw it with the first drive of the game last week. I know you were there. It's like they get the kickoff, and I think Mount Vernon touched the ball on their change left after half of the quarter, with one touchdown drive. And that's the type of thing that you do that, you let your defense play a little bit. You said it well, the complementary football, they've kind of figured out how to play to their strengths on both sides of the ball and make each side of the ball make the other side better.
And you put pressure on the other team's offense too, when they know they're not going to get as many possessions, and it creates more of a sense of urgency for them when they have the ball. So,
right.